Hello YouTube and welcome back to another Dare to Game video. Today we're playing Elden Ring and we're doing another weapon video, and today it's going to be the top 4 best Reapers. Now it's only 4 this time because there are only 4 in the game, and if you have a problem with the way that I named the video, well, that's just tough, I guess. On the bright side, I'll be showing you the location of every Reaper in the game, and I will also rank them. But yeah, so we're just going to dive on in and start off like we always do. So at number 4 we have the Scythe, so just the standard first name for the weapon. It's interesting that they didn't make the category Scythes, considering there are only 4 and they are all scythes, so you'd think that instead of calling them Reapers, they would have just called them Scythes. But anyway, I think it has a pretty standard look. This actually looks a lot like a real-life scythe. Obviously, the example I would be comparing it to is probably a much more modern version of a scythe, the only kind I've ever used. So a bit more curvy and has extra handles on it, but I guess if you're going to use it in combat, you don't need all that, so yeah, I think it looks pretty cool. Not really my style, but I can see how some people might really enjoy it. As far as stats on this one go, we have a max attack power of 768 and an average guarded damage negation of 33.5. Attributes required to use this are strength of 14 and dexterity of 14, so neither one of those is very high. We do have a passive effect, and the effect is that it causes a blood loss buildup, 55 points of it. We have the spinning slash special attack, which is a pretty common but also very good special attack, and this one can be upgraded using Ashes of War. So it's basically got everything that everybody wants, if you want to use a scythe, that is. As far as getting this one goes, it's not very difficult. All you have to do is make your way to the Liurnia region, so you have to have made your way through the Stormvale Castle section, and once you do, you make your way over to the Cliff Bottom Catacombs, and the easiest way to get down there is to come up through the Liurnia Highway North and just come down along here. You'll be able to follow this road down, it doubles back on itself, and then boom, you're in. And basically, there are 2 directions to go in Cliff Bottom Catacombs to get to 2 different endings, one of which will allow you to open the boss door and then you can do the boss fight, and the other one, basically you just keep following the path that goes upward, and so eventually it'll bring you up to, so that's where you can diverge. You can either jump down from that bridge or keep following it and go through the catacombs, and they will eventually bring you all the way around to this room back here. There's just a ton of gargoyles in this dungeon, so watch out for them. And once you get into here, this corpse here on the ground will have the scythe. Pretty simple, pretty straightforward dungeon as far as dungeons in this game goes, so yeah, it's pretty easy to find. So that's how you get the scythe. As far as using scythes, or reapers I should say, goes, they're actually an interesting weapon in the game, one that I never gave much thought just because they don't fit my personal playstyle, but actually they're a pretty good weapon. They kind of act like a halberd in most ways, except they do a little bit less damage, but swing considerably faster, so I could actually see how they would make an excellent build, especially considering basically all the Reapers have a pretty decent two-handed attack. They all do bleed damage, and I think not all of them are upgradable with Ashes of War, but several of them are. So I could see how you could make a really, really powerful build using the Reapers in this game. But we're just going to start out with a light attack. So here we have a running light attack. Like I said, they perform a lot like a halberd, just they swing considerably faster. Obviously, they do slightly less damage and don't really have the stagger power of a halberd, but they're powerful. And so if you do a heavy attack, it does a a charged heavy attack. It'll do that 2-pronged swing. So the first swing will actually deal less damage, but then the second one deals considerably more damage. See? So pretty powerful two-handed attack, or strength attack, I should say. And then for our special attack, again, we have that spinning slash. So there's a standard, and then you can follow up immediately with another heavy attack, which is decently powerful. So honestly, like I said, the scythes, I could easily see how someone could make a very, very powerful build based on these on the Reaper type weapon, just because of how much faster you can actually swing these bad boys. So that is number 4, the Scythe. So let's move on to number 3. Alright, and so next up at the number 3 spot, we have the Grave Scythe, which looks a lot like the first one, basically just bigger and more gnarly, I guess you could say. Other than that, it basically looks exactly the same. As far as stats on this one go, we have some boosts. So our max attack power is 809, so significantly higher than last time. And we have an average guarded damage negation of 36.7, so another boost there. Attributes required to use this one, still pretty low. Strength of 17, dexterity of 13. This one has the same passive effect, so it causes the blood loss buildup, 55 points. And the same special attack, the spinning slash, and this one can also be upgraded using Ashes of War. So basically, the Grave Scythe is just an upgrade in every way over the standard scythe. Stat-wise, it makes perfect sense to go for this one. As far as how to get this one goes, it's more complicated because it's a random drop from Gravekeeper Skeleton. Basically, any graveyard in the map where you can run into skeletons that wield this weapon and kill them, they have a chance of dropping it. The best one, in my opinion, is to come here to the lake-facing cliffs because it's really close to a graveyard that has them. And then you're going to want to make sure that you're using your pickled feet upgrades or medallions or whatever whatever they are, that little special accessory that helps you find things more easily. And of course, the higher your arcane is, the higher your probability of getting one. But if you start at the lake-facing cliffs and just head right over here, you're going to run into the skeletons. They'll spawn in this graveyard here. And so my best advice for fighting them is just to get yourself a weapon that deals extra damage against them, usually just one that does a lot of holy damage. Most of your gargoyles, black weapons will fit for that, or, you know, lots of things. But basically just keep killing the skeletons that wield this weapon until they drop one, or if you need two of them, until they drop two. So that is how you get this weapon. Like I said, it's a little bit more annoying because you kind of got to grind for it, but if you use this location, it shouldn't take too ridiculously long. Human bone shard, not quite what we're looking for. But yeah, so that is how you get your hands on the Grave Scythe. As far as using this one goes, like I said, it's going to be basically the same as the first one we tested, the Scythe. It's going to act a lot like a halberd, but it'll have less knockback and will swing a little bit faster with a compromise for slightly lower damage. So definitely an excellent weapon. The only major difference I've found between the halberds and the scythes while testing them for this video is that the scythes are significantly worse on horseback, whereas the halberds are quite good mounted weapons. I just can't get the hang of using scythes on horseback. But as far as strength and regular attacks go, pretty standard stuff. Special attack for this one is going to be the same as before. It's that spinning strike, which you can immediately follow up with another powerful heavy attack. So yes, that is number 3, the Grave Scythe. Let's move on to number 2. All right, and so for our number 2 weapon, we have the Halo Scythe, which is the first one to look significantly different on this list. It's still got a similar type of look, but it's definitely got quite a bit more curve to it and looks a lot less like a real-life scythe. That being said, it might look more like a war scythe. Never been my special area weapon of expertise, so it's not like I know that much about war scythes in general. But it does look pretty cool, I think. As far as the stats on this one go, we have a max attack power of 942 and an average guarded damage negation of 33.7. Attributes required to use this one are 13 for strength, 15 for faith, and 16 for dexterity. This one again has the same passive effect, so we're going to cause that blood loss buildup. And we have a pretty cool special attack that can be pretty overpowered, which is Miquella's Ring of Light. It basically just fires a faith-based magic attack that can be fired in rapid succession, so it can be pretty dang effective. And it unfortunately cannot be upgraded with Ashes of War, so this is the first out of the 4 that cannot be upgraded with Ashes of War. But I ranked it nice and high because of that really powerful special attack that it has. Not to mention, it also has just a higher base damage than the other 2 on this list. So it's definitely an extremely effective weapon. As far as getting this one goes, it's going to be another annoying grind one because this one drops from Clean Rot Knights randomly. And so the best place to go to look for these is going to be in the Aeonia Swamp. And basically you can just run back and forth. Well, I mean, you could do it from the Aeonia Swamp Shore, but I like to do it from here. So you make your way to the heart of Aeonia. You defeat Commander O'Neill, who is a pretty tough boss fight, but not crazy. Basically, just make sure that you can withstand Scarlet Rot if you're going to come to this area, because you're going to take a lot of Scarlet Rot damage down here. But anyway, once you've defeated him, you can just keep respawning here at the heart of Aeonia, and then make your way outside of it. It's best to do it on horseback, just because it gives you higher mobility. You can go quite a bit faster, and that way you're not taking the Scarlet Rot damage. And you can find these Clean Rot enemies. Any of them that are wielding the Halo Scythe can be taken out, and you have a chance of collecting the Halo Scythe from them. So basically just keep spawning here, keep coming through and killing any of these guys that you can find. This guy right here doesn't count because he doesn't have one. But there will be 3 of them that do have it just wandering around this area, and any of them has a chance of dropping it. And eventually you will get your hands on this weapon. So again, like all scythes, it can be used one-handed, two-handed, paired with a shield, can be used on horseback, but in my opinion, probably the best, especially if you only have one, is going to be to use it two-handed. Pretty powerful weapon, all in all, but again, where you're going to see something special is actually going to be from that Ring of Light, which, like I said, you can fire in rapid succession. It doesn't take a ton of magicka. I'm also not using this on a particularly faith-based build, so I think it scales with faith. But as you can see, considering how fast you can fire it, it's a pretty dang effectual special attack, like I said, which is why I decided to put this one above the Scythe and the Grave Scythe. That is the Halo Scythe at number 2. Let's move on to the best Scythe in the game at number 1. Alright, and so finally at the number 1 spot we have the Winged Scythe, which is a pretty cool looking weapon in my opinion. Like I said, the scythes aren't typically my style of weapons, but this one is pretty cool looking. So for this one, stat-wise, we have a max attack power of 868 and an average guarded damage negation of 31.7. Attributes required to wield this one are strength of 16, dexterity of 16, and faith of 24. 4. It has the same passive effect as the rest of them, that it causes blood loss buildup, 55 points. And we have the special attack Angel's Wings, which is an incredibly useful ability. This one, unfortunately, cannot be upgraded using Ashes of War, so that is a downside, but it is a very powerful weapon in its own right. So as far as getting this weapon goes, it's going to be down here in the Weeping Peninsula, and you'll find it over here in the Tombsward Runes. You can get here pretty quickly, either from the Fourth Church of Marika or the Church of Pilgrimage. So I'm just going to ride over there quick. Once you get here, it's going to be a real simple process of getting it. You go down into this little underground section here. Try not to get shot by that guy the moment you walk through. Or that guy. Once you've taken out those 2 page-type enemies, open up the back door, and check this chest. And that is how you get the Winged Scythe. So you can get this one once per journey. Alright, now this weapon is a pretty unique one, and so obviously the standard attack and heavy attack are going to be pretty normal. You can use it one-handed, two-handed, dual-wield. It's going to be a pretty effective weapon, but the major thing about this one that makes it so special and why a lot of people really like it is the special attack, which is good against regular enemies and invaders and bosses and stuff like that, especially humanoid types who are going to use flasks of recovery. Mostly what it's going to come down to, what makes it so effective, is going to be the special attack, because the special attack is called Angel's Wings, and it basically, the description says, jump and imbue the wing blade of the armament with light, then deliver a slashing attack on the enemy, and white wings impede recovery actions using a flask of tears. So basically what that means in layman's terms is A, it does a pretty nice powerful attack, but it also stuns humanoid enemies and prevents them from using their flask of tears, so they can't recover their stats. So it makes it a particularly nasty PvP ability. Obviously, just using it here against some enemies, you can see it's a powerful attack that deals quite a bit of damage, but also it prevents enemies from using their healing ability, or Magicka recovery, because it prevents any usage of Flask of Tears. And so it makes it, like I said, it's a very effective weapon PvE, using it up against regular humanoid enemies in the game, who might use Flasks of Tears, as they sometimes do. But it's mostly just an extremely effective PvP weapon, because not being able to heal is a serious disadvantage in PvP combat in this game. So yeah, that is why the Winged Scythe takes my #1 spot. So that is my list of the top 4 best Reapers. Like I said, there are only 4, but now you know how they rank and where to get all of them. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope it was useful, but that's all for today, so we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching another Dare to Game video. If you liked this video, please leave a like and a comment. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to the channel. If you like my content and would like to support this channel, consider becoming a member today for as little as $1.99 a month. It makes a huge difference. But in any case, thanks for watching and have a nice day. I'll see you next time.